Hi, welcome to Window on Wellness. I'm Jackie Hesse, Executive Chef and Manager of Food and Nutrition Services at Rutland Regional Medical Center. Today we're going to have a very sweet episode as we're going to be highlighting a few of my favorite Vermont maple syrup recipes. We'll be right back after this message with those recipes.
We are your community hospital.
We are here for your new beginnings
and daily discoveries.
Your quiet victories
in times of quiet.
We are here to help you
and help you heal.
We are here for you today, tomorrow,
and always.
Rutland Regional Medical Center. Healthy you, healthy together.
So today we are going to start by making a delicious Vermont maple syrup inspired baked bean recipe. This recipe is going to be really great when we start having cookouts again, as we are starting to get back into the nice weather, which seems like it has taken forever this year in Vermont. So what I'm going to do is start by preheating my Dutch oven. This is one of my absolute favorite kitchen tools, is my Dutch oven. It's so insanely versatile. You can put it in you can cook with it just like this on the stove. It can go in the oven. It holds, I think this is, I want to say a 5 or 6 quart. You certainly don't need this big of a pot necessarily for this recipe, but it works great to put in the oven, which is why I'm using it. So what I'm going to do is start off by getting some bacon. I have a nice piece of slab bacon here. And we're going to start cubing that up so that it can go into our pot to start rendering. I need about 1 cup of bacon. So I'm going to leave it in nice, fairly good sized cubes, because as it cooks down, it's going to start to render. And this is very thick, and it has, it's been cured and smoked, so it's going to bring a nice smoky flavor to the recipe. And this knife is not cutting it today, literally, because it is so thick. And you can certainly leave the bacon out if you want to keep this a vegetarian dish. You could certainly do that. If you did leave the bacon out, you would want to start with your pan with just a little bit of olive oil, because the bacon fat is what's going to help us get the rest of the recipe together. So I'm just going to cut. I don't think I'm going to use actually all of this. There, I think that's going to be enough. Just going to stack it up and get some nice cubes going. You could certainly use a regular already sliced slab bacon that you could find at the grocery store. We happen to have this one at the hospital that we've been using for a bunch of different things, so I'm using that today. And it works best if the bacon is very cold. This bacon I just had out for a little while, which is why it's kind of giving me a little bit of a hard time today. So the colder that the bacon is, the easier it's going to be to cut. Just going to chunk that all up into little cubes. Yeah, right. Get that in our pan. And the one thing I love about this recipe is that it smells delicious. It's going to make your whole house smell great. Now, typically we don't cook with a lot of bacon on this show. It's typically a little bit higher in calorie, a little higher in fat. So we're just going to use a little bit, and we kind of like to go by the theory that all things in moderation, especially since everyone's been home quarantining. Sometimes a little bit of comfort food is a really good thing. So we're just going to bend the rules just a little bit today. This bacon really does add a lot to the dish. That actually might be enough. We'll see. We can maybe add more if we need to. So I'm going to turn up my heat. I want like about a medium flame now that we have our bacon going. And that's going to start to render. In the meantime, while that cooks out, I'm going to take an onion and mince up an onion. Just kind of a medium dice on that. Okay. Give our bacon a stir here. Depending on how much bacon grease starts to render out as you're cooking, you can certainly drain the bacon off and remove some. If you find there's just a little bit too much in there, I think we'll have a good ratio going here. So you just want the bacon to start to kind of get brown all the way around, start to get crispy. If you don't get your bacon crispy enough before you start adding all of your other ingredients, your bacon's going to be kind of tough and chewy. So it's really important that you render it out and get it really crispy and get that fat cooking out. We're also going to add to this, once we get our onions in, 3 cloves of garlic. And I'm going to use my garlic press. This is one of my other favorite kitchen tools. It makes mincing your garlic so easy. The cleanup is so easy. It even came with this little handy like garlic brush that you can clean your garlic press with after you use it, and it just like stores right on the handle. This is one of my favorite tools, and I put garlic in so many things that I use this thing all the time. But we don't want to add our garlic just yet. We don't want it to burn. So we're going to keep working our bacon here. And you can see it's starting to get crispy. We've got all that nice brown color on the bottom, which when we add our liquid ingredients all that great flavor will come right up and get into the rest of the dish. So that's looking good. I'm going to add the onion. And then I'm going to use my garlic press to add in some garlic. I'm going to do about 3. You could certainly do more if you'd like more of a garlic flavor. See, that is just so easy. Push it right out. Give that a stir. I'm going to chop up and add 1 jalapeno. That's kind of my secret ingredient for this recipe. Not so secret anymore, I guess. But I love spicy things, and so this adds just a really great little bit of spice to the back of the dish. Sweet and spicy are one of my favorite combinations. So the mixture of the maple syrup, the sweet maple syrup, with a little bit of jalapeno in the background, I think it's a great combo. If you don't like spice, you can certainly leave out the jalapeno, or you could substitute a green bell pepper or a red bell pepper if you want like maybe a little pepper flavor in there. Make sure I keep moving all this around so nothing burns. The flame might still be a little high. You want about a medium heat. We don't want to burn that garlic or the onion. Getting a lot of good color there. All right, finish my jalapeno. And I just did kind of a rough chop. Once it cooks, it's going to cook in the oven for several hours, so it's going to melt all in. And you can leave out the seeds. The seeds add extra heat. So if you don't like a lot of spice, leave the seeds and the ribs of the pepper out. That'll make it less spicy. Okay. So we have all of those ingredients in here. We're going to just keep stirring that around. Perfect. Now, for this recipe, we're using navy beans. This is what I did was I took 1 pound of dry navy beans, and I soaked them overnight in warm water. So about 8 to 12 hours you soak them. in the morning or whenever you're getting ready to make the recipe, you're gonna cook these in a pot of boiling water for approximately half an hour to 45 minutes or until they're tender. And then they'll be ready to go into the rest of the dish. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 3 cups of chicken stock. If you wanted to, again, make this a vegetarian recipe, you could add veggie broth or you could just use water. About 3 cups is what we're looking for there. Give that a little stir. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, which is going to help us thicken it up and give it a good sauce. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of molasses, a nice dark molasses. Again, it's going to help us thicken and darken our sauce. And then finally, last but definitely not least, is our maple syrup. So this is a dark amber maple syrup. This is, these are 4-ounce cups. So this is half a cup here, and I'm gonna add another half of a cup. So 1 cup total of dark maple syrup, Vermont maple syrup, of course. We were so fortunate at the hospital. We had 6 gallons of maple syrup donated to the organization from the Vermont Sugar Makers Association. All of the maple syrup that was donated to us came from producers in Rutland County, so we were so fortunate. So we felt like it would be a great idea today to highlight some of these recipes with that Vermont maple syrup. So we're so thankful to them. And we've been able to incorporate some of that maple syrup into our recipes and dishes that we serve in our food court at the hospital. So that is all of our ingredients there. I'm going to turn this back up just a hint and add our 1 pound of cooked navy beans, which I've drained off, right in. Give it a stir. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt because we have the soy sauce in there, and some black pepper. Give this a stir. And then I'm going to cover it, and it's going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 2 hours. So it's a great kind of set it and forget it type of recipe once it goes into the oven. And I have one that is already ready to go. So we're going to take this out and let it hang out until just a little bit later. Put our baked beans in. And while that cooks, we're going to do our second recipe, which is a maple balsamic dressing. This is a really, really great, very, very easy salad dressing. Great for summer, great for a summer salad. Typically, I like to use it on a spinach salad. It goes great with anything. That here. So what we're going to start with in our pan, it's great to use kind of a larger pan so we can get all the ingredients mixed in. We're going to start with, depending on the size of the shallot, I'm going to use probably this actually smaller size. We're going to use a minced shallot. Shallots are nice. They have a lighter onion flavor. So if you're not a big fan of a really strong onion flavor, shallots are really nice. They go great in salad dressings for that reason. If you don't have a shallot, you could certainly use a little bit of red onion. You really don't need a lot. Put that right into our pan. And then we're gonna do about 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, and the Dijon mustard is what's gonna help the dressing emulsify. So it's gonna take the oil and vinegar and bind them together. So about 2 tablespoons. We're gonna add 1/2 cup of balsamic vinegar and 1/2 cup again of the same dark amber Vermont maple syrup. And then to blend this all together, I have my immersion blender, a very handy kitchen tool. You could certainly whisk this by hand if you want a little bit of an extra workout, which might not be a bad idea if we're gonna eat those baked beans later. But the immersion blender will get it done very quickly for us. So I'm gonna just blend all this together and then add in 3 cups of vegetable oil. Make sure we have it here. And it's that quick. And if it does come out a little thick, you can add a tiny bit of water to it. It's certainly a thicker version of a vinaigrette. So you don't need a whole lot to coat your salad, which is kind of nice. So that's our super, super easy maple balsamic dressing. All right. And now, finally, we're gonna move on to we're gonna do a Greek yogurt and fresh berry parfait. So what I have here, this is, I think this would be either a really great quick breakfast idea or a really great dessert. So what I'm gonna do is you can get any type of glass that you'd like. I just have kind of a small, kind of a highball glass or just a small drinking glass. If you had a little Parfait glass that you have that you'd like to use, you could certainly do that. But what I'm gonna do is take some plain Greek yogurt, and just put a little bit on the bottom of my glass. Try to keep the sides as clean as I can so that the presentation will look nice at the end. And you can use any mixture of berries that you like. I have today a big mix. I've got strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. You can certainly do any combination that you'd like. These are really big strawberries, so I'm probably only gonna need maybe one. This is a big guy. Just do a couple here in the bottom. And then what I'm gonna do is, I like to keep my maple syrup in a little squeeze bottle like this. It just makes it so much easier to drizzle rather than trying to pour out of a big bottle. And this is exactly what I use at home. I just use this little squeeze bottle. So then I have granola, just a little bit of granola with some seeds and nuts. You can use any granola you'd like. You're gonna add just a little bit to kind of make a layer with the granola. Add just another bit of your Greek yogurt to just make another layer. Maybe we'll do blueberries for the next layer. And I should say these have all been washed already. I washed all of these before we got here. Definitely wash your produce when you get it home. I'm gonna do just a little bit more maple syrup there. Another little layer of granola. This is big chunky granola. Probably if it's a little bit more chopped up, it'll sit a little bit more in the pan, or in your cup rather. And then just a little bit more on top. We'll do some raspberries at the end here. And if you had a little sprig of fresh mint, that would look really nice. Maybe a little strawberry there. So very, very fast, very easy. You can certainly make these ahead. Let them sit in your refrigerator overnight, covered, if you are going to do them ahead of time. Just a little maple syrup maybe at the end. So very easy. Breakfast, dessert, whatever you'd like. Great. This is this is a low fat. This is certainly a healthy option. It's probably the healthiest option we have today, actually. But very fresh, very summery. Good to go. All right, so now we are at the point where we can check on our baked beans. As I said, I did these earlier, so we'd have something ready to go. The ones that are in the oven are going to be in there for about 2 hours. So once the recipe is all done, this is what you're going to have. You have this great caramelized pieces of your bacon all the way through. The sauce will be totally reduced, so it's going to be all absorbed by your beans. And you're ready to go for a summer picnic or just a regular dinner night at home. Thank you all so much for joining today. Take care, be well.
Taking care of patients safely has always been our top priority. I'm Dr. Todd Gregory, Medical Director of Emergency Medicine at Rutland Regional Medical Center. In our emergency department, we've put in additional measures to keep you safe. These include temperature and symptom screenings at the door, the wearing of masks by staff and patients, and we've established a respiratory symptom-free zone for patients to receive care. When you have a medical emergency, it's important that you get the care you need right away. Rutland Regional Medical Center. Healthy you, healthy together.